Hello everybody, my name's Tony Cottrell and I'm here today to talk to you about Land Raiders and RHINOs, those infamous vehicles from the Space Marines in Warhammer 40,000. Specifically to look at some of the new Forge World kits we've just brought out of both those vehicles. But to do that and give them some context, we're going to have to delve back into the early days of Warhammer 40,000 and look from where those designs come from. So we're going to take a bit of a whistle-stop tour through the designs of Space Marine vehicles. Now, first off, let's go back to 1987. And 1987 was the year that Warhammer 40,000 was launched. And to help us on our way, I've brought a few props, which I shall be getting out. And to begin with, this was the book, Warhammer 40,000. So here we are, released in 1987. And I've stolen this one from Alan Bly, and it's well thumbed and in fact falling apart. But shortly after this book, because of its popularity, Games Workshop released the following year, in 1988, their first 40k plastic kit of a vehicle. And that was, this chap here, the Space Marine RHINO. Now, this one here we refer to as the Mark I RHINO, and I think it has a designation. I look over here, it tells me it's a Mark 1B. And this was released in 1988 and was a kit that was made for many years by Games Workshop and formed the backbone of Space Marine forces for, I think, until round about the early 21st century. The next chapter in the RHINO's history came in 2002 when this plastic kit departed the scene and was replaced by a new plastic kit from Games Workshop, which was the RHINO Mark IIc. I've got an example of one here. It's a nice green one, which I've stolen from Owen Brannan's collection. This model was not only slightly larger than the original plastic kit, it was also a lot more detailed. And you can see there's notable differences between the two. And even though this kit was sold extremely well, there are always those hobbyists that remember the old days and keenly and fondly look back on the times of the designs of this RHINO. And we thought it would probably be nice to do a Forge World model to actually represent an earlier mark of RHINO. So we tasked Forge World designer Daren Parrwood to make us an earlier mark of RHINO based on the new plastic kit, which we called the Mark IC. And I have a model of the new Forge World plastic kit here, and this is the Mark IC DEIMOS RHINO. And you can see it's very similar size to the Games Workshop plastic kit, but has a lot of the design aesthetics of the original Mark I RHINO. So you've got the round doors, the large exhausts, and the front plate there with the two bolters sitting at the top. Next we'll look at the Land Raider, and again Forge World has just brought out a new resin kit of a Land Raider, and to find the origins of this we have to go back even further than the RHINO, right back to the actual book, Rogue Trader, the original Warhammer 40,000 book. And inside there, if you've got one of these rare tomes, you will find on page 110 and 11 the original Land Raider model. This was a scratch-built model which was made by Dave Andrews, one of the Citadel designers, and was used to make the original, as a design to make the original pattern for the original Land Raider plastic kit. Now, original Land Raider plastic kits are exceptionally rare nowadays because Games Workshop actually didn't make that many of them and they were only available for a few years. But we've got a couple of things that we can show you. We do actually have a box of the original Land Raider, and this is what it looked like when it originally came out. And at the time, of course, could be used by both Space Marines and Imperial Guard. Although nowadays we tend to restrict that to Space Marines, certainly in the 41st millennium. And we've also managed to steal, at much risk to members in Forge World, an actual original plastic Land Raider model. And here it is here. This was the original Games Workshop plastic Land Raider kit, and as I say, these are very rare. So if you have one, it might be financially a prudent thing to keep for your pension because they're probably going to go up in price. This was brought out in 1988, shortly after the RHINO, and actually, as I say, was only available for a few years. In fact, it's pretty unthinkable now, but Games Workshop actually went for many years without actually having a Land Raider kit on sale when this was deleted. But in the year 2000, the next Land Raider was made, and the new plastic kit of it, which was this here, which is sometimes referred to as a Mark III Land Raider, or sometimes even a Mark V, but it's the same kit. Now, what happened to the Mark II, I hear you ask? Well, that usually refers to what became the Epic scale, from Epic 40,000, the Space Marine game scale Land Raider, which was similar to a cross between these two. The next part in the history of the Land Raider occurred in about 2004, when Forge World made a hybrid kit which largely represented what was a mixture again between the two Games Workshop plastic kits, and represented a Mark II Land Raider, a version of one similar to the one that was done in the Epic 40,000 game. And this is an example of the Mark IIB, and you can see it has various differences on the sponsons here, and the way the guns are mounted, and the way some of the detail is presented on the top here, and the exhaust also on the back. But there were many people that again fondly remembered the original Land Raider and thought it would be nice to be able to go back even further in time, back to a Mark I Land Raider, or what we call the Proteus Land Raider. Now, to do this, we asked Forge World designer Phil Stutcinskas to put together a new kit for Forge World, which represented a lot of the design aesthetics of the original Land Raider, but in a style and size that matched some of our Land Raiders that we have as plastic kits now. So from this mock-up, we made some final design adjustments and came up with a full resin kit, which Phil then made. I'm going to move some of these a little bit out of the way now so I can get our new kit in here, and we can compare it to the original plastic kit that was done by Games Workshop in 1988. And this is our new kit, the new Land Raider Proteus, and you can see we've actually from the original mock-up, we went back to the original designs of where the las cannon sat. And actually it's fairly faithful in many respects to the layout and the aesthetics of the original kit. But it's a slightly longer kit, it's slightly lower, and actually looks more fitting with a 40k army nowadays, about what people are used in size and scale of a Land Raider in their Space Marine army. We also felt, though, that it would be quite nice to do something that sat between that and a Mark IIB, which we already have. And Phil then also went back and looked at how he could make some alterations to this kit to produce a new variant, which we call the ARMOURED Proteus, and which is a brand new kit, which I have here. Now, this is a mock-up of it that was originally done. And again, what we did there is put some larger sponsons on the side and put twin heavy bolters in the front to give it a very similar firepower to what you get on a Mark III Land Raider. And the eventual kit that Phil did, I have down here. Oh, there we go. And here is the final model of that. So it's a chunkier looking Land Raider, and it looks slightly more armoured, slightly meatier than the original, and it's got a little bit of extra armament, as we say. So there we have it, from the original Land Raider in 1988 through all the variants of the major Land Raider variants through the years, and we're finishing at pretty well the same place in 2011, but a very highly detailed model, but pays absolute homage to where we started from in the late 80s. I'm going to leave you with that now, and I'm going to leave you with a few shots of some of the new Space Marine models from Forge World and these vehicle kits of Land Raiders and RHINOs. Thanks very much.